Gen 1ers exist. I'm not one of them, I think. But by the end of this video, I assume there will be some comments saying that I am, even though my favorite generation is the 4th. But Gen 1 is still really good. That's to be expected though with a topic like this, so let's just have a little fun here. There have been many Pokemon in generations 2 to 7 that have similarities to Generation 1 Pokemon, and that makes complete sense seeing as that was their first time designing Pokemon. However, I still thought it'd be funny to talk about some of these Pokemon and see what we all think about them. Also, Alola forms don't count. So without further ado, let's jump into the top 10 Gen 1 Pokémon clones. I hope you enjoy. Number 10, Buffalont. I thought I'd start us off with one that really encapsulates this topic. Looking back at seeing this Pokemon pop up in Generation 5 before the actual games came out had people thinking it was a possible evolution for Tauros. We now know that poor Tauros doesn't get an evolution, or pre-evolution, or even a mega evolution, and that this is a buffalo, not a bull. But the similarities are still there. I mean, realistically, a bull and a buffalo in real life are somewhat similar looking, but seeing this random, no evolution normal type pop up with its poofy afro and its bull-like demeanor really made you think, hey, maybe that Pokemon's related to Tauros. Number 9, every Pikachu clone ever. As a running theme in every generation, there would always be one little fluff ball that was supposed to be the Pikachu equivalent in each generation. In Gen 2 they made Pichu, but they also made Meryl, who is still very fitting in that role. Each generation had 1 or 2 additional Pikachu clones, and they even made a Pokemon that wanted to be as popular as Pikachu by wearing its memorabilia. Ain't that right, Mimikyu? While this is a running gag throughout the games, I still think these Pokemon are really cute. Especially you, Emolga, and Togedemaru, and Dedenne. All of them are so cute. Number 8, Sock and Throw. These felt like 2 rivaling dojo fighters trying to settle who is the best. You know who else had that feeling? Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. While they are designed quite a bit differently, you could see that these 2 tried to fill the same role as the Generation 1 fighters, except in Generation 5. They obviously have their own nuances to them, and a different overall design, but you can't deny that they look like they derive some inspiration from their Generation 1 cousins. Number 7, Seviper. Although it is just a different snake from Arbok, a lot of questions arose upon seeing this Pokemon since it looks like a possible addition to the Arbok family tree. Looking back, I have no idea how I came to that conclusion because it looks nothing like it, but Seviper definitely had that feeling of being close to Arbok, especially since Jessie put one on our team after the departure of her Arbok. Seviper does have its own rival to set it apart, but the comparison with Arbok will be there for a long time. Number 6, Houndour. Maybe I've just come across too many forum posts comparing both Houndour and Growlithe. I mean, they're both fire dogs, and they're both insanely cool Pokemon, but even as a kid, every time I saw one in my Pokemon Silver game, I'd always think of Growlithe. It's not necessarily a clone since you can see very many differences, but Houndour has had that feeling of being Growlithe's evil half-brother, or nefarious cousin. This list is more to compare the similarities between Generation 1 Pokemon and the rest, so again, it's not a knockoff of Growlithe, but I think this is a cute pair of dogs that share some similarities and some rivalry with their evolutions, so they deserve a nice little mention. Number 5, Garbodor. While it is part of the trio of pollution in Muck, Weezing, and itself, Garbodor has been cast aside and called a Muck clone. I do think they have quite a few differences, but their overall gooey stature makes you feel like they're pretty similar. The 2 have a somewhat similar design, with the overflowing look of garbage. But all in all, the actual look of the 2 are pretty different. However, it's still hard not to think that Muck was a big inspiration in the look of Garbodor. Number 4, Agumon. It looks like Charmeleon, kind of, except orange and has a bigger head. But I saw a meme once that compared the 2, so we're not stopping here. It's technically called Gen 1 Pokemon clones. Never said that the clones had to be from the games. Now, I'm not saying they copied Pokemon, I'm just saying they look alike. I know it's called Gen 1 clones, but that's more for the drama of the title than actually saying these are clones. You go, Agumon. Number 3, Houndour. With another Gen 5 Pokemon being added to this, I bet you're thinking, wow, all of these are just Gen 5 Pokemon. But only most of them are, and that's what counts. Generation 5 is pretty notorious to having similar Pokemon to Generation 1, as it seems like they want to make a generation that sort of started anew. This is the first and only generation that doesn't have any Pokemon that directly relate to previous generation Pokemon. and didn't even have any past generation Pokemon in the original Black and White games. Oh, also Audino is like this generation's Chansey. Number 2, Vivillon. While Vivillon definitely has a different look from Butterfree, they're both butterflies, and Butterfree probably inspired its look. Vivillon does have its own little gimmick of having a multitude of different forms you can catch, but you can definitely see the justification in people feeling like Vivillon is Butterfree's long-lost little brother. Number 1, WooBat. They made another Zubat with the name WooBat. WooBat, Zubat. You're with me so far, right? Sure, they gave it a psychic typing to make it kind of the opposite, but you really cannot deny that WooBat was made as the replacement to Zubat in Generation 5, so you could still be plagued with unlimited amounts of bats attacking you throughout your exploration of any cave. They had to make another one. They just had to. And then they made Noibat, but Noibat turns into a dragon, so that's okay. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you like this mostly silly topic, and while I know these aren't exact clones, it's still pretty funny to talk about. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more, and until next time, keep on catching!